いつか僕らの上をすれすれに通り過ぎてったあの飛行機を不思議なくらいに覚えてる意味もないのになぜか不甲斐なくて泣いた
Alright, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Got another Genshin Impact update video. Been working really hard, been working overtime, trying to figure out what is going on with this game, what my thoughts are on this game. So I'm here to provide the fruits of my labor so that you guys can benefit from it. So please feel free to thank me in whatever capacity you feel most comfortable with. So if you want a summary of this video, it's basically in the title. I wish that this game just charged you at the beginning and then you got all the content later on. But unfortunately that is not the case, and let me explain why I think that is a little bit unfortunate. So just a quick preface, I am AR 52 out of possible 55 ranks. It'll be a long time before anyone gets to 56 because they basically made it so that way you can't get to 56. You know what? It doesn't matter. It's a complicated thing. Just I'm as endgame as it's gonna get, and even if I was spending money on this game, there wouldn't be a huge difference between my perspective and people who have spent, let's say $50,000 on the game. That's because of the resin system, which I'll get into later. But first, let me talk about spending money up front. So ultimately, it comes down to the fact that without spending money, you cannot unlock every single 5-star character in this game, at least in the short run. The reason being is that 5-star characters are added to this game in short periods of 3 weeks, and even if you have the monthly pass, even if you have the battle pass, that still won't be enough primo gems to guarantee that you'll be getting every single 5-star character that they release every 3 weeks. Now again, that's not to say you can't enjoy the game or that you can't play the game or that you won't be able to get through content. You can get through content just fine with just the starter characters that you get in this game, and plenty of people on YouTube have proved it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I wish there was a guaranteed way to unlock all the characters in the game without spending money in a more timely fashion. Now when it comes to actual area, so for example in patch 1.2 they added a new area called Dragonspine. That's going to be available for everyone, and moving forward any new areas or quests that they add obviously will be free for everyone. But it's just the characters and the weapons are the things that are going to be gated by money basically. So the resin system is basically a resource called resin that determines how many activities you can do in the game that are rewarding. So like dungeons or bosses basically. A boss takes X amount of resin. Once you've used your resin for the day, you cannot do you can do the bosses or dungeons, but you can't get the rewards for it. Resin recharges over time, so you get 1 resin per 8 minutes if you care, and typically activities will cost you 20, 40, or 60 resin. So obviously this will limit how fast you can progress, character-wise, weapon-wise. Other materials that you may need to farm for, like flowers or farming monsters, those will be done on like a daily or every other day or every other 2 days basis as per the material. So now with those two things out of the way, I think I can talk about the strength of this game and why it's hard for people to resist paying. And that's because the actual gameplay is very rewarding. The mechanics are good, the elemental reactions are very satisfying. You're rewarded for well-crafted teams and combos that you pull off. There's a lot of different artifacts that can affect a character's usefulness or their utility. Some constellations that you'll get, basically getting duplicate characters will unlock perks for that character. So for instance, you might be able to use an ability twice, or an ability might get an extra effect. So those are also very useful in terms of the different opportunities and team making potential and combos that you'll be able to do. The actual level of challenge that comes with the different bosses or activities is pretty well balanced because it scales off of your world level. Your world level is basically your AR level, basically how many activities you've done in the game. So that'll kind of make sure that as long as your characters are at the level that's appropriate with your world level, everything will kind of fall into place. As I mentioned in my first video, I was actually holding off on leveling up just the characters I had because I wanted to wait for characters that I wanted to play, and that kind of paid off in the long run because when I finally got those characters, leveling them up was quite easy. But in the middle, some content did get kind of difficult, and that's when I kind of resorted to co-op or friends to kind of boost me or just get me through the content. And again, not the best solution, but it works. And the co-op option is there if you ever need help or if you just want to run through activities that you and your friends need to knock out at the same time. So why not? Speaking of activities in the end game, it's basically going to be a lot of farming bosses for materials that you need, running domains to get the artifacts that you need to kind of min-max your stats, or at least attempt to. And the third thing is going to be Spiral Abyss. So it's kind of like a multi-level dungeon or domain. The first few floors, I think 1 through 8, they are non-respawning. So once you complete them, you get the rewards and they don't change. That's kind of it. You'll get the rewards the first time you complete them. But then floors 9, 10, 11, 12, every week or 2 weeks or something. I don't know, because I'm not exactly geared to complete it all, so I just kind of occasionally do it. But those will reset. You can get, rewards when they reset. You can also, like the modifiers on the events will reset. So there's some type of end game content that is kept fresh for you to be able to do, once you are at that stage of the game. So just to summarize, I think the game does have two major weaknesses, one being the resin system, the other being how it's very difficult to get all the 5-star characters in the game without spending money, but it looks like 5-star characters may be coming back here and there, so it just might take a very, very long time to get them. But aside from those two weaknesses, the game does have its strengths, being the actual combat, the events, the open world aspect. The theory crafting and different combinations you can try out leaves for a lot of endgame replayability in that sense. Most likely, I think you'll end up loving it or hating it. Actually, most likely it'll probably be a mix of both, so that's just something you're going to have to deal with in the long run. But with that, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take it easy.